Hey guys, so I'll wait a second for everyone to come back because as nothing's wrong with my connection, nothing's wrong with my camera. Facebook just randomly shut off my live video. And maybe there was a connection issue or an error on their part, but my video was stopped for apparently no reason. And I think that's very strange, but we won't be conspiracy theorists today. All right, so let's do this again. No domain over the known name. So we're going to be dealing with some very deep esoteric topics today. And even now that this is a new stream, I still want to give love and honor my higher self, universal oneness, my ancestors that are looking for the highest good of myself and the world. I want to honor everybody who comes in to watch the stream. I just want to be thankful and give gratitude at this time. Remember, gratitude is a currency. You can feel free to vibrate with me if you want. But I send out these loving vibrations of gratitude. Okay. So now let's get into the topic. I am. I am that I am. That's what they say, right? And a lot of people use this as their personal mantras. A lot of people will use this term without really knowing. They say that it's one of the most deep meaning and esoteric sayings to actually use in English. If anyone watches C. Freeman L., he had a brilliant meditation on this, dealing with I am that I am. And, the whole thing is that in the Bible, the false god, if you go back to Gnosticism, the false god would be Yaldabaoth. I don't want to make this in terms of good versus bad, or the good guys versus the bad guys, because everybody has both within them, and every power can be used for the highest good of creation, and it can be used for the destruction of creation. But you must understand that even in destruction there is transmutation. So Shiva is one of the Hindu gods, and that's like everybody's favorite, but he's the destroyer. And what happens when the destroyer destroys? He makes room for new creations. So this isn't based on judgment, and it's not going to be based on, getting into that sort of consciousness or thought forms. It's really based on higher spiritual knowledge. So I want you all to be in that sort of, we're getting out of, where this is the unification of duality. It's getting out of the duality game. So I am that I am. It actually has its roots in Hebrew text and the Bible. And I explained in my blog post that there are two gods in the Bible, and one of them is the archonic, jealous god Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth is a chief or head archon. And if any of you have read Gnosticism, you'll know that Yaldabaoth actually represents ignorance. And he was created in ignorance by Sophia. So then he actually went on to represent ignorance. So Yaldabaoth was born from Sophia in her ignorance. And just as Sophia, our divine mother, our great mother, put off her ignorance, so must we. We must treat our ignorance and our child, because ignorance just means I don't know. And how many times in life have you been wrong, or you just didn't know something? So ignorance is a divine attribute in certain respects, and it only becomes destructive when you refuse to acknowledge that you don't know what you don't know. In its purest form, ignorance is just simply a child learning. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong being a child learning. It's about putting things in their correct place. So now, as we get deeper into the Gnostic texts, we start to recognize, as the story unfolds, Yaldabaoth went away from his mother, and he began to create other beings. Him not being a full god himself, he could only create beings that were less powerful than he. And yet he still proclaimed that I am the Most High God. I am God. So with all that being said, we come to a space where we can understand now that there was nothing wrong with the ignorance before it proclaimed that it knew what it did not know, or that it was what it was not. So that's where we really begin our story today. So the thing is that this is a characterization of an out-of-control ego. So all these stories are just talking about mechanisms in your own mind and things that are inside of you. So Yaldabaoth would represent ego, and he would represent the physical reality or matrix as it is out of balance. And him hating his mother, just constantly trying to get away from her, and her being compassionate, is constantly telling him to come back. Like, let's talk. It's just like how a lot of people fight with their moms, male or female. A lot of people fight with their mothers. And we have to learn to reconcile that within us, the rebellious child, and bring that aspect of ourselves under control and allow the ego death that needs to happen there to occur. Now, that's one aspect of this story. I actually wanted to get deeper into this because in all his ignorance, even Yaldabaoth knew I am that I am. If we can see that a lot of the Bible was taken from various texts, a lot from the Gnostic texts, and just inverted, but that term still came through. Now, why would an energy, a frequency, a being, a deity, choose not to give a name? Yet they would name man or Adam. They would name Eve or woman, and they would give Adam dominion over all the animals by allowing him to name the animals. Yet Adam is still under him at home. So it just shows the power of us coming to a space where we leave parts of our own divine essence undefinable. Where if we don't understand what something is, we don't have to use the utterance of a name to understand its nature or to understand it intuitively. Names only represent the most dominant viewable or the most dominant observable trait. Names can never represent the totality of the wholeness of being. So as we learn to get out of using names, we learn to tap into our intuition, and we begin to rise above the use of names and instead start to just feel. You start to feel. You start to communicate. One thing starts to flow into another, and there is no separation between you and all of creation. There is no fighting. There's no war. There's harmony, not peace, because peace is broken, breaks apart. Harmony brings together. So there's harmony. And that's really the point of this story. Alright guys, shit got really fucking weird. It restarted. Okay, perfect. Wow. So my video got cut off twice for apparently no reason. And I just find that very odd because I've never had an issue like that here. So I'll give you guys another minute to come in. I don't know, talking about harmony is apparently an offense. And for this section, we're actually going to get into techniques and how to put off your own mind and put off your own brain. And it's funny because a lot of places teach mindfulness, but mindlessness is the real key here. Sorry about that, Gilbert, if you're already here. I don't know what's going on, but Facebook keeps randomly shutting off my live video. So it keeps coming in and out. It's never happened before. I don't understand like the mechanism, like why. Alright, so let's get into it. So we spoke about the power of not using names and the power of oneness and creating harmony within self and creating harmony with things around us, and understanding that things are greater than the names that we could ever give them. We can give them 100 names and it would never be enough to describe the totality of every aspect of creation. So the next thing is the fun part. You have to lose your brain. You have to practice mindlessness. And mindlessness may bring up zombies, and it's the zombie apocalypse, but mindlessness is a practice where you actually will, in meditation, let go of the mind, because the mind happens to be the true matrix. Now, I believe in the beginning of this video, I was talking to you all about how the mind actually interprets frequency and vibration into sounds and into what you see around you. So the world is not physical, everything is actually metaphysical. And that is such an accurate term for it because it's all based on perception. Really, everything is just a vibrating frequency or waveform, and your decoder, aka the mechanisms that your ears and your eyes use, your decoder decodes the code in the reality, and you see images or you hear sounds, but they're really just wave patterns and forms. So nothing's really solid and nothing's really as linear as we pretend that it is. So this is why, in order to begin to lift the veil and find the harmony within self and the wholeness, you must come to a space of mindlessness. You have to lose your mind in the most amazing way. You have to lose your mechanisms, rise above your mechanisms in order to see what's going on behind the veil. So the best way that I personally have seen a lot of my psychic abilities and spiritual gifts come online was through meditation. I only practice meditation in order to keep me balanced in a very stressed world and a very stressed life, and I already had certain gifts that I was born with, but they've only developed as I've gotten older, obviously. So meditation's interesting because typically the novice will produce, and you see, you can even produce waveforms from your mind. So it's just showing how all of reality is communicating with each other. It's a constant communication, but it's a secret language is what I call it. It's a secret language. It's not something that's known to a lot of people. It's a secret language. And I don't want my camera to cut off again. I'm kind of freaking out about it. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick now. So when you first start meditating, whether you're focusing, I do say you should be giving your mind one singular focus, whether it be a mantra, or breath, or you're just, your eyes are open and you have a flame in front of you and the room is dark. It's actually a really good meditation. There's a million different ways, and you can remix meditation to where it works for you. Even if you have like bird noises or something and you're completely focused on that, that's a good way to start to allow, you really allow your mind to wander. And as thoughts come in, you just let them flow out. That's how you really practice meditation. And at some point, you will start to pierce the silence. I even feel like I shouldn't be giving the secret sauce away, because that's what a lot of us will, you experience orgasmic breath. And you do experience a sort of listening. You just purely listen. You pierce the silence. That's the best way I can describe it. And this is very natural for those who have 7 years, like I do, of meditation. I was meditating before it was cool. I was a weird person. Why are they just sitting there? Why are they saying, what is she doing? I'm activating my crown chakra. Alright. The editing to this is going to be crazy because my live video went off so many times already. This is what I was freaking out about. But I'm just going to finish this up. As soon as I do some ill shit, the shit goes crazy. So anyway, a person who does experienced meditation, they come out of the alpha state, which is characterized as a wakeful or an alert restfulness. You're like awake. Your mind is awake, but you're rested. Into these theta waves. And theta waves are actually connected with memory, intuition. And it's funny because I'm in psychology. I'm taking psychology, and they don't explain to you the difference between, master yogis or people who are practitioners of meditation for a long time versus people who are novices. So it's like the wakeful rest alpha state is pushed, but nobody aspires to the theta state, which is what happens over time, which is what allows your psychic abilities to come online, which is what allows you to tap in. So when people say do the work, they really mean they do the work, because this is real work. So it's theta waves, learning, memory, and intuition. So that's how also too you can start to get into your childhood memories, past lives, DNA memory. You can start to actually bring light to your DNA, start to alter your own DNA. There's a lot of things that you can do with meditation, that a lot of people, you can heal yourself through meditation, especially with those theta waves. You so much. There's so many things you can do. So in closing, I just want to talk about, now, as you guys saw, my live stream went out 3 times. So I'll edit 3 of these videos together and then put them out all as one, probably on my YouTube. I'm going to put in the comments just the blog so you guys can check out the post that goes with this video. Alright, so now the whole thing is, alright, now I've gone through this whole spiel. I gave you this whole reason why you shouldn't use names, right? Why you can transcend, well, you can use names, you have to use names in your reality, but transcend names. Know that the names are not the wholeness of your soul. Know that there are parts of your soul that there's aspects of your being that should not be named. Now, here's the trick. This is where you guys can get into your magic bag. And I've actually been doing this since last summer because I wanted to start to tap into my intuition more. So I use it as a practice exercise. Rename things. It's like, rename things. So instead of just going run of the mill and being afraid or whatever, like, 'cause everything's in balance. So we're not living in duality. There's no good or bad. It just is what it is. This is the information. But you can use this information, okay, well, renaming things. You can put things in the world around you back in alignment. For example, I would sit, and I'll tell you one of my divine names. We have a koi fish pond in my backyard. So I would sit with the fish for hours. I would meditate, and then I would just ask the fish, what's your name? And then what would come to my mind is what I would write down, because I was just practicing. I didn't know what I was doing was so powerful. I was like, oh, I just want to practice like communicating. I call it silent communication. I want to practice, tapping into the environment around me and understanding what things really are. And it turns out that the names, when I ask the object or the frequency that's in front of me what its name is, it always responded to me personally how my perception perceived things, how my mirror reflected that energy back. It always ended up like a song. And for the koi fish, I got Koila. That was their name. And it's so interesting because koi fish are some of the only fish that can lucid dream. So because koi fish are some of the only fish that can lucid dream, they're highly, highly spiritual beings. And they came in the form of something as amazingly innocent and profound as just a fish. A fish that couldn't hurt anything if it tried, because they're very loving. And I just thought that was very interesting. So that's it. Practice renaming things, and you're going to open up a whole new world to you. Also, this allows you within this matrix to start to create your own reality and create a space where you feel more comfortable. And as you use those names, you start to change frequency and vibrations around you. So you can use this as a form of alchemy in your everyday life. I hope this message gave you light. If anyone needs a dream decoding, some intuitive guidance, a circadian oracle card reading, please feel free to contact me. I am available. My schedule is filling up. And I love you guys infinitely. I will edit this video, these 3 videos together, and get you guys the message like as one video. Not 3, because Facebook decided it, I don't know, the harmony apparently is a terrorist act. Anyway, I love you guys. Bye.